All right, coffee lovers. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Decaffeinado Corner. I'm here with Nathan Furr,
Hello.
Freestyle co-founder
Hello.
and coffee lover, Decaffeinado. As we will with every episode, we're going to be trying some new coffee while we chat here. Nathan, what are we drinking today?
Drinking some Brazil right here. Also, this is my debut. So hello, fellow coffee lovers. I didn't mean to, haven't meant to stay out of the limelight here, but I'm glad to be sipping something fresh. So this is, just another Brazil decaf. It's a Swiss water process,
All right.
which is always a favorite as far as processes go for us. So, what do you say? Should we
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
just
Let's try it.
dive in?
Dive in.
Here we go.
Smooth.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Smooth. I like that. It's got a little bit of a aftertaste, a little bit darker on the back there, but that's really nice, really smooth. Do we know um, anything about the region on this or drying
don't.
method?
I don't. Uh,
I'm getting a little bit of like little black raspberry.
some dry. Yeah, it's got that
dry
like dry fruit
Yep.
kind of tang.
Yeah, that's nice. How do we prepare this? How do we grind it? How do we
Yep.
brew it?
This is just a hand burr grinder, and we use a pour over style drip machine for this. So pretty standard as far as your everyday goes. We typically try not to do anything wild or fancy that would otherwise make the coffee turn out like something you wouldn't be able to do every day. So when we taste, we're trying to do, a consistent process for our tasting, but also one that's not far off from what you do every day. So we know exactly what we're going to get when
So this
you
was
do
on
it at home.
the done on the DeLonghi, which is basically just a drip machine, but it pours the water in a bit of a circle to mimic pour over and helps make sure you get even coverage of the grounds. But yeah, nothing too fancy. But this is this is good. This is solid. This is a solid cup of
It is.
coffee.
The first time I had Brazil coffee, I was in Brazil, and they make it like it's sludge. It's
Yeah.
thick, and it is so strong, and it's such a distinct flavor. And this is not made nearly as strong. It almost feels like coffee concentrate, and so it's nice to taste some varietals from Brazil that are maybe a little bit lighter. You get a little more of the flavor and not so much of just like strong coffee coming through.
And this is and you roasted this yourself, right?
I did, yes.
Medium roast.
This is just a medium roast. We have a sample roast profile that we use. So we have an Ikawa sample roaster that we use when we get our coffees in. It's 50 grams at a time. So you can imagine how much time that takes to, fill up a little bag with some samples. And it's a very even profile. Again, we're not trying to do anything like crazy or fancy. We want to get just an idea of what does this coffee bean do when it turns brown, and start to taste that and figure out the notes. And then from there, based on the region or the flavors we're getting, we might decide ultimately like this would be great if it were a little darker or, a little bit lighter.
Yeah, so we want to taste, every time we're tasting, we want to taste it on the same roast. We want to compare apples to apples. So we're actually comparing the flavor of the coffee, not the quality of the roast, or not even necessarily the appropriateness of the roast for the coffee. We want to just get even across the board, everything on the same roast. And then when we know we've got a good bean, start experimenting with different roast profiles.
Yeah. And we've found in our time testing, even just over the last year, you can identify a good coffee pretty quickly when you're cupping and tasting. The ones that are not great stand out pretty fast.
Yeah.
So as we've gone around the cupping table before, you can see people's faces when you get one that just isn't quite right. And that's kind of that advantage of doing them all the same, is that as you go from coffee to coffee, there's nothing within the roast profile that could color your judgment on that. You just get a very plain tasting. It's almost like preparing some food and not putting a bunch of salt on it, and you don't have the salt to like hide anything, but then once you find something good and you add it, it brings out,
Yeah.
much more flavor.
It is
there.
amazing every time we do a cupping, even though we have people cupping with different tastes and different preferences, the ratings always seem to
Yep.
line up. I mean, a good coffee bean just stands out, no matter what your preference for how it's prepared might be.
Yeah. And it's nice to know you have good taste in coffee when everybody agrees with you too.
That is true. That is true. So Brazil, this is interesting. We don't have a Brazil in the current inventory, so this is great. We should be trying quite a few Brazils to find. Obviously, we want to find the best one. We have a few others, I think, that we still have some green samples to check out. So maybe we'll do that, some more Brazils on next episode. Other origins that we want to look at, though, kind of to get into the rotation here. Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee.
Feels like a must.
Yeah. Maybe Sumatra. What else is on your list?
Let's see. What else do I have? I am really into at least my palate. I really like shade grown, high altitude coffees from Central America. So that's kind of on my list to explore those a little bit more as well.
Just got back from Costa Rica and visited a couple of farms down there. Saw some beautiful, beautiful coffee farms and tasted some pretty good coffee. But man, they just char the coffee down there. So I am eager to bring some of that back and try it on some different roast profiles. My favorite in our current inventory is the Honduras, and it just it works so well as a light roast, because it's just got so much of those sweet notes, the marshmallow, the honey, that you don't want to char that. Like,
right.
I mean, there are people who like a charred marshmallow who just stick their s'more like all the way into the fire, but that is not me. I like it, toasted, just golden brown, so you still can taste it. So I'm with you though. Let's get more Central America in the mix, and we got quite a few other origins that we can draw from there. I want to ask you about not just coffee flavor and origin, but I want to talk a little bit about coffee culture as well. One of the things that we're all about at Freestyle is like an alternative to this hustle culture, this drug fueled everyday grind. Just part of why we got this new shirt, this new slogan, "Find a New Grind."
Yeah.
Obviously, we want people to find a new coffee, but also just a new lifestyle, right? Talk a little bit about your personal journey with that. You have not been 100% decaf for a long time. You still dabble a little bit with the caffeine, but how have you changed your daily routine since you've discovered that there's a way to have good decaf?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started drinking coffee in college. I worked construction, and it was kind of one of those things that felt like, the first time I really had like a cup of probably strong black coffee, my boss dug a mug out of the back of his truck and he blew the sawdust out of it and he filled my cup up, and just handed it over. Um, and so you talked about the culture, and I was kind of thinking like, oh, it's like this rough thing, construction. You got to drink your coffee, and because you're up at 4:30 and all this, and I kind of carried that into college and carried this attitude of like I love coffee, and I started getting more into like the different regional, regions of coffee, and really interested in that, and it became sort of, as it can, that badge of honor of like I know things about coffee and I can drink it at 9 o'clock and still, go to bed later and it doesn't bother me. And I think that really built up, on the lifestyle side, something sort of unhealthy. But even like relationally, it's kind of odd. Like you get older and you start to grow up a little, and you're like, I was probably pretty annoying about that. But the other thing that happens is you get older and your body starts to change. And I really noticed that not only did caffeine really like hit me harder, I could feel it. Um, the physical effects of it were actually making me feel sick or or sort of unwell. And if I had it late in the day, I would get home and I would just feel awful, like
Yeah.
the mental, like an odd mental feeling, but accompanied with like my body doesn't feel good. I need food. Um, I feel irritable, from that.
Well, you start, like any drug, two things happen, right? One, you build up a tolerance to it, and two, you start to have withdrawal.
Yeah.
So now, it gets to the point where it's like no longer does it even have the intended effect. You just have to drink it not to be, not to feel better, but just to
get
not feel
get to a baseline
terrible
or something,
and then inevitably you're going to feel terrible again
Right.
as soon as the withdrawal kicks in.
Yeah. Well, and then the real like the thing, maybe the straw that broke the camel's back for me was that my gut health was being affected by drinking too much caffeine. Um, and I really started to notice that over time, and had even talked to my dad, and he had said the same thing had happened for him, and he was like, I can't really drink coffee anymore. And I thought, well, that's kind of sad. I love coffee. Like I love the ritual of, it's part of my morning routine, and just that part of my day without the caffeine even is helpful in just getting going and getting started. And so, yeah, as we started talking about it more and more, I was like, yeah, I would love that. And like anything that you maybe have done for so long that it's become a habit, it's a little, I don't know if scary is the right word, but it's unsettling to be like, how am I gonna, can I go from drinking caffeine to not drinking, or even cutting way back? And like anything with time, like with something that tastes really good that I want to drink, um, I have noticed that I enjoy the coffee a lot more because I'm not missing the side effects, and I am still getting coffee that I really enjoy. So I might have a cup of regular or maybe two in the morning, but I really have to limit myself, just to feel good. So
I'm glad you brought that up. There's this a study that came out earlier this year, published in Helion, was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study involving habitual coffee drinkers, and the researchers found that the decaf drinkers, right, had the same physiological and cognitive responses as the caffeinated coffee. So what this suggests is that the biggest boost you get from coffee is not really from the caffeine. It's from the aroma, the flavor, the ritual of it, and the caffeine is just kind of a drag on it, right? Have you found that to be the case? Like, do you still get the same boost in the morning drinking decaf?
yeah, I mean, I think like anything, as you give your body time to adapt to that, it's interesting having had regular coffee for so long. I think that mental part is still there because you're like, well, I'm still doing this thing.
Yeah.
But again, with the negative side effects not being there, I think there is this boost in sort of the inverse way of, oh, well, I don't feel sick to my stomach and I don't feel shaky and all of these things. So
Well, and I think you start to build up even, so much of what we experience in terms of flavor is association, nostalgia, memory, right? And so it's almost, I've found as, now being, caffeine free for over a decade, that experience in the morning with the first cup is better because it's no longer like, oh, it doesn't smell like heartburn. It doesn't smell like the crash I remember, right? It smells just like that smooth, enjoyable, kind of free lifestyle that I've now kind of come to know.
Yeah.
And so those, even just what happens beyond my understanding in my brain is producing a better effect.
One other thing we've been talking about the culture of it, and I kind of alluded to, maybe making other people feel a little bit like on the outskirts or whatever. And you think about that, you ask people like, oh, do you drink coffee? And they don't. And like, there is this culture of sort of maybe almost elitist around coffee, which is not what we're after. Like the reasons that we care about origin and flavor and all of that are simply to enjoy it. We want more people to be able to enjoy coffee. I have so many family members who are older who were like, oh, I wish I could find a good decaf, or like, oh, I can't, just can't drink regular. And it's like, we want to bring in not just those folks, but people who are like, I'm really sensitive to caffeine, or I just, want the benefits, whatever it is, to make them feel like coffee is a welcome place for them too. Instead of this like elite, oh, you don't know anything about coffee, or like you're not into the grind of just being so caffeinated that you have to find something to offset that later in the day to, bring you down and all of that.
Yeah,
So.
there's like this weird macho thing that's like, if you're not drinking caffeine, then you must not be working hard enough. Like, yeah, I work so hard, I have to take drugs to keep it going, right? Like, and I was like that. Like I was, not just drinking caffeinated coffee, but there was a time in my life when I was pounding 5-hour energies and 16-ounce rock stars, right? And man, that stuff is terrible for you, and it is a terrible habit. And I'm glad that I got my wake up call, because I don't feel like I need that at all anymore. And it's not like I'm not working hard, right? I mean, still working every bit as hard as I ever did. I'm just working smarter and more efficiently because I'm more focused, and I'm not constantly distracted by anxiety and jitters.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's easy to. We've normalized it so much that it's just like something you poke fun at and joke about. It's like it's actually pretty dangerous long term. Like, not like just drinking a cup of coffee is dangerous, but the macho, like pounding energy drink kind of culture around caffeine that again you just like kind of gloss over for marketing sake of another company trying to just sell their product, like was actually creating some pretty bad and dangerous habits. And kind of like the things we've talked about, we sort of started to see that and realize there's another way to enjoy coffee and have it be a regular part of your life without all the junk that typically comes along with it. So
cool. All right, well, enough culture. Let's get back to the coffee. We got a fresh pour here. Anything new that you're noticing?
It's smooth. I like this. It's a very easy drinker.
I don't know how we don't have a Brazil yet. You've been to Brazil multiple times.
I've been once.
Once?
Yeah.
Seth, our video guy's been there many times.
Enough that he learned to speak the language.
Enough that he's marrying a girl from Brazil. So we got to get some more Brazil into the lineup here. It seems natural, and I got to get down to Brazil. Maybe I'll make it in 2026.
Thought I had something there. Toffee? I don't know.
I'm still getting kind of some dark fruit, dark cherry, black cherry, black raspberry.
Yeah. And that's good. We get a lot of questions about that. So it seems like people are on two ends of a spectrum when we get asked about our coffees. I don't like these certain I don't like really acidic or fruity or bright coffees, right? It's like that side. And they're like, I want something that's like really light and easy to drink. And then on the flip side, it's like, I want something with a lot of flavor and I like the fruity. It almost seems like the questions typically lean more towards those sides. I don't know what everyone else that doesn't ask a question likes, but it seems like the ones who do, that's kind of where they tend to sway.
Yeah, and it's important too to note, like, so many people have such a distorted view of coffee because they're drinking flavored coffee and flavored coffee drinks.
Yeah.
When I say we're tasting fruit here, I'm not talking about the kind of flavor you get with a frappuccino that's got fake flavor and sugar in it, right? This is a very subtle note that we're getting from a plain cup of black coffee, right? This is not, when we say fruity, we don't mean fruity in the way that you might think of a fruity drink or a soda or a pink drink from Starbucks, right? We are talking about very subtle notes that come in based on the terroir. It's a new word I just learned. Do you know what that means?
I do not.
Terroir, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, but basically means like the way flavor is affected by where something is from. I think that like terra, earth, right? So we're talking about like elevation, like you mentioned, soil content, and the microclimate, like shade versus sun, how much moisture is in the air and in the soil. I think that the wine people made that word up, but but it exists for coffee too.
Yeah. And if you've never seen a kind of a flavor wheel for coffee, it's pretty interesting, the multitude of flavors that are possible, and obviously not with each, but as you look around that, there are things from oak and like wood and things like that in nature, all the way to the dried fruit, to the chocolate, to even like vegetable flavors. And so it's interesting, if you're maybe learning about it for the first time, like it's obviously opened our eyes as we do more and more tasting, trying to identify those things, because
there are still flavors on the wheel that I have never tasted in a coffee. And there are some in there that are not natural, like cardboard.
There's some that
obviously one you don't want.
are not necessarily a positive. So
well, maybe we can do a whole episode on the flavor wheel.
I think that'd be good. And hopefully these kinds of conversations and us tasting coffee can help you kind of learn to pick some of that out in your own. Obviously we've got we're a little biased on what we've got here behind us, and we've got some notes there, but there are more than just what we even list on a bag, right? There's nuance to flavor as you drink things. So we're just out here trying to make a great cup of coffee for you, enjoying it for ourselves, and so hopefully you can jump in and join us with that. Pick up a bag, freestyledecaf.com.
Nice. And hopefully now that we're kicking off a new year, it's a perfect time for people to kind of renew their commitment to free and healthy living, and maybe we'll get some new decaffeinados in 2026. That would be my wish. All right, so Nathan, if we do add this or Brazil into the collection here, what do we call it? Got any good Brazil names?
Brazil's got so much great culture. I mean, and also the geography. If you're unfamiliar, it's it's the most beautiful place in the world that I've ever visited, which the number of places I've visited outside the U.S. are not super high, but I've been in some really beautiful places around the U.S. as well. So I don't. You've got mountains, you've got oceans. There's Carnival. You've got dance, samba, like beautiful music and culture. So much color. So it feels like there's a lot, kind of in that range, to work with.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to go on there. I'm not immediately thinking of any like lyrics or song titles that are directly related to Brazil, but there's got to be a lot of them out there.
Girl from Ipanema.
Is that in Brazil? I should know my geography better. All right, we got to study those lyrics. All right, give us some good names. Drop them in the comments if you've got an idea for a Brazil coffee name. We'd love to hear it. All right, any parting thoughts?
I don't think so. More coffee.
All right, Brazil. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us.